Hey there, I'm radio and TV personality Rob Pagotto in Toronto, Ontario, and we are gearing up for the Accounts Payable Leadership Conference in Chicago happening September 25th. And I'm here with Patty Dungo Morales. And Patty, where are you coming to us from today?
So I am coming to you from Buena Park, California, which is just south of Los Angeles. It's really hot over here.
We were just talking with somebody from Vegas, and it's 113 degrees Fahrenheit over there.
Okay, I can't compete with that, but it does get to the 90s. We're experiencing a heat wave. We're really it's just like a shock into summer right now. So
Well, you'll get through it. And when we get to Chicago in September, it'll be perfect fall weather.
yes.
So, Patty, you're an accounts payable manager with Vast Space. How did you get to your position where you're at now?
Sure. So, I guess I've worked in aerospace in the accounts payable field for about my whole career, basically about 16 years. It started, I worked as a banker in college, and I was headhunted by an airplane leasing company in Los Angeles, and they said to me, I didn't know anything about aircraft maintenance or aircraft. And they just said, about wires, Patty. And I'm like, sure. I sold checking products, I wasn't a teller by any means, but that opportunity really launched my career in accounts payable, and specifically the aerospace industry. And so I worked there for about 8 years, and then I wanted to pivot. I wanted to pivot to the nonprofit sector, and I completed my master's in public administration because I am passionate about human rights, and I worked a lot with Amnesty International. When Virgin Orbit gave me a call, and they said, we're building rockets and launching small satellites into space. Do you want to be part of the team? And of course I said yes. And it just continued on my path. And so I really built and learned a lot of my skills during that time, because in a startup space, everything moves really quickly. You're building things from the ground up. And I found that I really loved building processes and developing people. And then from there, Virgin Orbit closed its doors. And so I did a short stint in healthcare. I worked for Headspace for about a year. And then I thought to myself, I really miss aerospace. And so Vast is a company in Long Beach. I've been there for about 4 months now. And we're trying to build a space station, because the International Space Station from NASA is going to be retired. It's been up there for many, many years. So they're opening up the market to see if private companies can compete. So really exciting, lots to do. And that's just kind of been the trajectory of my career.
That is really cool. I had no idea that space station is going to be retired.
Yeah, it's been up there for a long time. And, with all of the advances that SpaceX has been making, basically shuttling astronauts back and forth to the space station on their Dragon rocket. And so, this just really, NASA's taking bids to see who can, it is kind of like a space race to see who can create and be successful in launching a space station into space. So we do have a contract with SpaceX, and we need to launch by 2025, which is exciting and scary because that's just around the corner. But we just built the mock-up for the actual space station. You can Google it online, but it's really amazing. And I do work on the shop floor. So my office, I look to my left and I can see the technicians like building the parts and putting the pieces together. So I really enjoy being part of that environment and just around such smart people that I could just walk around and really rocket scientists and see, what they're doing and how they do it.
Very cool. So, like space exploration and the people that you work with, communication is key because we're talking about
Absolutely.
minuscule moving parts that need to be perfect. So, on your discussion happening September 25th, the importance of establishing and sustaining strong vendor relationships, and that was my segue to go to here, is super important. Tell us or give us a little sneak preview as to what you'll be discussing.
Sure. This is a really relevant conversation for me as I'm building a new team. If in the accounts payable space, as you have to be in lockstep with supply chain. So really understanding who is going to be managing that vendor relationship and having a lot of controls in place, because lack of vendor relationship can lead to fraud. So establishing a tight process from the get-go is really important. Looking for any weaknesses ahead of time, who's completing that vendor onboarding and who has access to the vendor master, establishing who onboards or sorry, manages that vendor relationship. Is it supply chain? Is it accounts payable? And in my experience, supply chain owns the relationship at the onset, right? Because they're entering into that agreement. But accounts payable kind of finishes it off and makes sure that the contract is fulfilled with payment and milestone payments are completed.
I'm looking forward to meeting you in Chicago, not only to discuss the importance of establishing and sustaining strong vendor relationships, but I want to know more about space. Let me ask you two questions, Patty. One,
Sure.
did man really land on the moon?
That is a conspiracy theory that we could discuss in depth at another time. But space has always been a symbol of hope, right? And I grew up with three brothers, and my older brother had me watching Star Trek all the time. And I'm kind of a Star Wars nerd. So that's always been an area that's been intriguing. So I do think that we did land on the moon. I just watched that movie Hidden Figures, and I just love that sense of hope. And that's actually something else that I'm really passionate about is diversity in aerospace. Currently there's only about 13% of women that work in aerospace. Vast, we're a little bit better at 17%. But, just making sure that there's a place for us in aerospace and having diverse thought. Mm-hmm.
I love it. And my other question quickly is one fun fact about you, aside from the industry you're in.
Well, I've had a lot of amazing experiences in my career for sure, but it all comes back to family and the reason why we get up in the morning. So a fun fact about me is, I enjoy just going on adventures with my daughter. She's 10. We like to go and find the best boba places in town. So, and I was born in Toronto, so there's some great boba places up there as well.
I got one right around the corner. Well, I look forward to meeting you in person. I'm definitely going to pick your brain on several subjects. And if you'd like to meet Patty and join her and the panel at their session, all you have to do is click the link that you're seeing on the screen right now. And we'll see you September 25th in Chicago. Patty, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Rob. It's been great talking to you.